Alright, we are going to do another mail call video, which by now you guys should know what that means. That means that you guys have questions for Mr. CRS. I give them to him and he writes me a letter about it, or a story, or answers them in story form, letter form, whatever. But before we get into that, don't forget to shop at onlytacticalfans.shopify.com to get you some badass American freedom fighting merch. Now, let's get into what Mr. CRS has to say. Hey guys, hope everyone's doing alright, as I'm well into my prison bed. I'd like to reach out and thank everyone for their support. If it wasn't for you all, I would have lost everything. And I appreciate the letters everyone sends me, so please keep them coming. Let's get into the first question asked by Brian. Hi Brian. He asks if I've heard about the 2A news about Illinois in regards to the piece of shit and more than slightly communist governor requiring the residents register their firearms by January 24th. Turns out that only between 1% and 5% actually complied. He asks what I think about it. Well, Brian, since you asked, the first thing that comes to mind is that song by Team America, and the second thing is that I didn't think fibs had it in them. I mean, we're talking about at least a 90 to 95% non-compliance. Maybe I'm stereotyping a bit here, but I thought the only thing that Illinois people were good for was coming to Wisconsin and sucking up our air to try and generate a few extra brain cells. Okay, I'm partially kidding on that one. Partially. After all, I did live in Illinois for a bit, so I should probably cut him a little slack. Frankly, I'm impressed. Standing up to the government is scary business and takes real grit. Now let's be clear, I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do, and I'm definitely not a lawyer or a life coach, so please make your own decisions as you see fit. Now let's put our big boy pants on and discuss some of the possibilities, implications behind Captain Kami's attempt to require registration. What are the facts? Fact 1. Would a gun registered reduce gun crime in any way, shape, or form? While I understand the residents of Illinois aren't the brightest crayons in the box, I think even they are smart enough to not use guns in a crime, especially ones registered in their name. But let's pretend they are that dumb and use a gun that registered to them in a crime and leave it at the scene. First off, why in the actual fuck would someone do that? And second, gun registration does nothing to prevent the crime. That's like slapping on a condom after you've already knocked up a girl. So we ask ourselves what the point is if not to prevent crime. How about most obvious and simple answer of giving the government the most readily available way to track our guns? Why would they want to do that, you ask? Perhaps so they know where to go to confiscate our firearms. So good for Illinois with your 95% noncompliance. Fuck Captain Kami. If you don't stand up for your rights, then nobody else will for you. Which is very true. Our next letter is from Andrew, out in Florida. Andrew wants to know that when I was sentenced, if my charges were run concurrent or consecutive to one another. Well, that's an excellent question, Andrew. I myself suffered a lot of confusion around this issue while waiting to be sentenced. I couldn't find a concrete answer other than that the judge has the power to do either, unless statutorily bound by law. There were a bunch of questions regarding my sentencing, and my girl answers them in detail in another video, and I provided the link here. However, to answer your question, I was convicted of 5 counts, of all which are running concurrent to one another. The judge could have ran them consecutive for a total combination time of 30 years. My offense level was originally 18, which applied around 3 years for each of the 5 counts. But what the judge did is raise my offense level to around 30. I think it was 32. And sentenced me to 5 years total sentence. If I choose to appeal, that would essentially reopen my case and expose me to the original possible 20 years. This attempts to force people by scaring them into not appealing and sitting in prison for the sentence imposed. If she would have stacked them or made them consecutive, I would have appealed the sentence and likely ended up with 3 years or less. But no matter what, it's finalized in there, so he cannot get no more time, no matter with appeals or anything. Like that's it, unless if he does something in prison that's illegal or whatever. You know what I mean? He says, I can't wait to see your videos when I get out. Keep up the good work. I love you so much and I'm so proud of you. Aw, I just love him so much. Alright, now if you guys would like to send him questions, you guys can write him. Be subscribed to Patreon, which is where I do a lot of stuff in there. I post pictures of us when we go visit him. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to continue to support this channel, there'll be links down in the description, such as Cash App, Givesendgo, Amazon, and even when you click on the link for Amazon, even though you don't shop in the little box of what I've had on my list, just because you came off my link, I get a kickback for that. So I really appreciate that, guys. And thank you all so much for all the support and love that you guys have shown my family and continue to show it. And until next time, guys, peace. And I appreciate the letters everyone sends me, so please keep coming.